What's up YouTube, Capital G here, giving you guys a Yu-Gi-Oh! Market Watch video, letting you guys know what the heck is going on in the secondary market. This is kind of important now because the Shining Victory sneak peek is over this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Plus, we just had the YCS Houston just wrap up a little while ago, so obviously some of the stuff that topped there was a little bit of an impact in the secondary market, and I just want to cover it. If not, just to try and get you guys a little bit of money in your pockets, as maybe you can move some of these cards, or maybe you pick these cards up now instead of waiting a couple of months and then the cards have like doubled or something like that. And if I can't do either one of those, then maybe I'll just be able to entertain you. So there is so much dragon support coming out, and Melody of the Awakening Dragon, this was a card I talked about last week in one of my videos, and I really didn't. I mean, I said that the price of the card could go up, but wow. Currently sitting at $17.50, almost $18. If you look at this card, it comes out of Cross Souls. It hasn't been reprinted. There's so much dragon support that's just been announced through like the movie pack, or we know is directly coming out into TCG over the next 3 months, because we have Shining Victories pretty much this weekend, and that'll be the sneak peek. And then we have in the first week of July, which will be actually legal from Nationals if I'm not mistaken, we have Rise of the True Dragons, which will give us the Felgrand and the Artbraid Dragon and all that good stuff. And there's a lot of buzz around dragons right now, probably more so than there's been, and I mean probably since like the release of the Dragon Rulers. So right now this card is looking very good, and again it's out of print set, Cross Souls. So you look at this card, and when it came out, it was nothing doing, man. The card it cost a quarter, wasn't really worth anything. And then as of recently, and actually if you just go back a month ago, I mean March 21st, the card was sitting at like $4, so it still really didn't cost anything. But as we just creep closer to Shining Victories, the card price just keeps on going up and up and up. And that's because you're going to run this probably 2 to 3 copies in every single dragon deck that's kind of moving forward. If you look at even the OCG builds, they're running 2 and 3 copies of Melody of the Awakening Dragon. In my Chaos Max deck, I think I run like 2 or 3. I think I run 2 copies of it. All right, next up we have Overdrive Teleporter. But anyways, Overdrive Teleporter is a card that really never saw a lot of competitive play. Like if you look here, 2013, I mean, yeah, it was like $8 because it is a secret rare, and it if I'm not mistaken, it's never been reprinted. There's never really been that much of like a reason to reprint. It's never been a chase card per se, like it's never really been like a card that people are clamoring for. So if you look at the card's value, it's pretty much just always been like a $7, $8 card, and it's just sat there and sat there and sat there, and it'll have times where it peaks up, maybe somebody will play it. But what I hear is Patrick Hoban actually used it. Oh my god, look at that jump. It jumps literally from pre-YCS Houston $4.80, let's say $5, to $30 even. Like what? Sitting at $26. From what I hear, Patrick Hoban used it in XC version of Monarchs. I believe it was to summon like Ghost Ogre Snow Rabbit from the deck, and also the Super Quantum that you can teleport the blue layer out, so that you can go into, I guess, like maybe start as Charge Warrior, or that you can go into like rank 3s, and maybe you can combine it with like other cards in Monarchs to potentially make like Beatrice plays. Now, Psyframe Omega is actually trickling up. You see right here, it's sitting at about $38. This is actually surprising because this card has been over $50 before. You see a peak right here last December at $55, but it has been as low as, I think at one point, recently it was like $30. You see $30.77. It's starting to go back up. I knew that this card would go up when the Dark Illusion was released, because of the Shiranui Sage, and because of like how good that this card synergizes with zombies. I play zombies all the time, like Zombie Shiranui, and once you get a couple of Omegas, it's pretty much like impossible to lose at that point, because you just keep abusing Mizuki over and over and over until basically you run out of shit in the extra deck to summon. But the thing is, after Brilliant Fusion kind of lost its spot in Pepe and Breaker Shadows came out, a lot of people weren't running this card, and there really wasn't a reason to run more than 1 copy. So the card started going down, but again, it's starting to go up. You look at April, the card was sitting at early April, actually under $30, and then you see it's just gradually going up and up and up and up and up. I can't quite figure this one out. Actually, no. I believe it's because newer versions of Monarchs, if you're running an extra deck, they actually can synchro into this. So maybe that is the reason. You know, they can synchro with like Ghost Ogre Snow Rabbit as the 3, and they can use, I believe, like Prime as the 5. So that kind of works. Spear of Chaos. This is the hot button one right here, guys. Spear of Chaos is $24. I just what is this even? This is a card from Raging Battle. I can't even remember. The only thing that's coming to my mind in Raging Battle is Kalut. Like, what else? Okay, Kalut means it's a 5D set, but what else came out in that freaking set? But anyways, Spirit of Chaos is, let me just go ahead and read it. It's a Dark Machine, effect monster, level 5, 1600. This card's attribute is also treated as light. Once per turn, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. When this card is tribute summoned, you can add 1 level 3 or lower monster from your deck to your hand. So obviously, when you hear tribute summoned, you're thinking, okay, so people are playing this in Monarchs. The only thing I can think of is that people are searching hand traps with this. Is that people are searching Ghost Ogre, that they're searching, you know, like Maxi, they're searching Veilers, and they probably want to be able to search like Drifting Blossoms. They want to be able to just auto win against Burning Abyss by summoning this turn 1, and then, you know, having a potential banish all your Dantes, you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. So I mean, to me, this seems ridiculous. This seems ludicrous. But if you really want those hand traps, if you think that you know, Drifting Blossom is going to win you the duel, I guess it kind of makes sense. And I guess people are just getting ahead of the, you know, maybe they're trying to get ahead of the they're trying to get ahead of the pack. But at this point yesterday, this card was actually sold out on TCG Player. I looked on here last night and there were 0 copies of the card. So I think that it's essentially just to search hand traps. And again, we have our extremely powerful hand trap coming out in Shining Victories, which is going to be released, or at least we're going to have the sneak peek later this weekend. We've got this card right here, number 46, Drugalon. Drugalon is actually pretty solid in these Dragon Mirror matches. Again, we're getting a lot of Blue Eyes support. Rise of the Two Dragons is coming out, essentially because it lets you just take one of your opponent's dragon. It essentially becomes a big eye, and getting 2 level 8 dragons on the field is not that difficult. Not just, you know, those 2 decks, but then we also have a Morphic Iridium, which is going to be another just ridiculously strong level 8 dragon. So this card actually is pretty solid in mirror matches. I've actually got a really sick replay of my tag partner taking an ultimate Blue Eyes with this card. And if you, again, you see that this card really hasn't ever had a competitive place in the meta, because it came out in Shadow Specters. It's a Zeal card. I mean, $2, $2, $2, $1, and then bam, $6. Manda Strike the Raccoon is up about $5. This is a card that was super expensive when it released in Docs. I believe it was, this guy was actually over $60, $70. Wow, people really had super high expectations of Manda Specters, and then it just, you know, went down and down and down as people realized the deck wasn't as good as they anticipated. And the card has been, you know, it's hit some lows, man. This card has been actually about $15 in the past. In fact, if you look early April, it was about $15. Let's go 2 full weeks ago, and it's rising up. I don't know if that has to do with things like Rippling Mirror Force that are going to be released in Shining Victories. The deck is going to get some cards that benefit it greatly. I still don't think that, you know, I still wouldn't put it in like my top 5 or anything like that. So I'm thinking that this card is going up based on the potential of cards in Shining Victories to make Manda Specters just a better deck. And then the last card I want to talk about is Card of Demise. This one is sitting at almost $15. This is an extremely new card because it comes in the Millennium Pack. And honestly, it's really the only thing in the Millennium Pack that's really worth a damn. You know, when it came out, or at least you can see about a week ago, it was $12. Now it's up $3. I think that this is probably going to be the definitive chase card in this set, and I would say that it has the potential to be like a $20 card, because to me, this is more or less like, you know, a newer version of like Pot of Duality. It's a card that slows, or excuse me, it's a card that makes slower decks feel a lot faster. It's draw support, but only for, you know, like slower paced decks. And there was actually a Gravekeeper deck that almost top 8 updated, and of course he was running 3 copies of this. So I think a lot of the older players who like to run stun type decks, they're looking at this and they're like, okay, maybe this is our salvation. Maybe this is going to be the card that makes Yosenju, or some of these other like really slower decks like Hat, or maybe a deck like Gravekeepers, make those decks like somewhat viable again. And by viable, I mean at least on the regional level. So again, this will probably be the only card to look out for on the Millennium Pack. I think that this card could go up to potentially like $20, if no more than like maybe a top of like 18, but I think it could go up a little higher. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching as always.